All right, what is up, guys? It's your favorite transparent YouTuber, Transparent Hoodie, back at you with another video. And this time around, we're going to be talking Demon Slayer. Hold on, wait, give me 1 second. I gotta get my phone. Okay, here we go. So I got my phone, and pretty much what we're going to be talking about on Demon Slayer is going to be nothing really professional, I guess. It's not going to be an ironed out review or of whether or not like you should or shouldn't watch it. I'm just going to give my overall thoughts on Demon Slayer. Recently, I just finished the manga. I kind of let the ideas and some of the things that happened in the manga kind of just sit there for a little bit with me to see how I really feel about it after maybe like a day or two of completing it. And I feel like right now or today is a very comfortable point for me to kind of just talk about this series as a whole. And I just want to iterate this again, guys. This isn't a review. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to calculate some sort of arbitrary number score that honestly it don't even matter, because entertainment and just enjoyment is a matter of perspective. You will hate whatever you want to hate, you will like whatever you want to like. It's all a matter of just what you're in the mood for, really. So yeah, we'll talk about it. So pretty much, to start things off, I did make a list. I have like a list here of just some of the points I want to talk about. So number one, coming off of the anime, reading through the manga, and guys, I'll let you guys know this. I didn't rush. I wasn't no rush to finish the series. I have other priorities. Like, this series to me was kind of just something that was there and I just felt was fun at the time to just get into. There was a manga, of course, that I knew that came out before the anime, but I never took the time to read the manga. Watched the anime, got into the manga right after, because once I saw that there was a movie coming out, I looked at the release date or the possible release date for this movie. I looked at my calendar. I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna go read the manga. So yeah, first thing, the story. What is the story of Demon Slayer? To me, I don't know. Like, even after what happens in the first couple of arcs, if you want to even call it that, that the anime just readapted from the manga, like, I just felt like the story was super simple, like simple and digestible. And depending on the type of person you are, you might either think that's a good or bad thing. But I'll let you know this. Like, this story is not a story that is really unique in any sense, and that's okay. Like, I was 100% okay with that going into it. Coming out of it, I left the same way I felt when I went into it. Like, the story is simple, it's nice. um Me myself personally, I can't speak for any of you guys, but me myself personally, I have watched a lot of animes within the same realm as this one. So this one to me particularly didn't feel all that new. So watching it, getting into it, was just okay, this is nice. But at the same time, guys, like, I have to let you guys know this about myself. I don't consume anime on a constant basis. So even though, like, I'm in this realm constantly. The type of story that Demon Slayer tells is not something I'm not familiar with. Like, I've been reading stories like this since I was young. Like, I've been reading Inuyasha, Bleach, Naruto. I read Black Clover whenever I can. Like, these types of, shonen esque stories. And I kind of don't want to disrespect the series by just calling it a typical shonen. I mean, it is, but I feel like the connotation that comes with saying something is like a typical shonen just destroys the validity of the series. Because I do think this series is fun, but like, at the end of the day, yes, it's similar to some of the other shonen series that I've already seen in the past. It really doesn't do anything different. Like, it does its own unique things, obviously, in concept and plot a little bit, but like, again, it's a very, very, very simple story. And just back to the point of me just not consuming anime consistently. If you're the type of anime fan where you go out of your way to every day, minute by minute, you constantly consume anime content. I feel like if you're seeing things back to back and you watch this series is going to feel a little bit more lackluster because it doesn't do anything new, depending on what you're looking for now. So if you're the type of anime watcher who does consume anime consistently and you're trying to find like a nuance or try to find something new, Demon Slayer isn't that show. But if you're more like me, where you don't consume anime all the time, where it's a moderate thing where you watch what you watch and you can get to what you can get to, I feel like Demon Slayer is a nice simple show that you can get into. It's not overcomplicated. It doesn't beat your head over with plot themes or just symbolisms or anything extra like that. It's a very simple, enjoyable show. You'll get your little 1-2s with a couple of cool fight scenes. You'll get some generic character interactions with one another. It's a very, very simple show. So that's how I felt about the story overall. Like, even taking into account what the manga gives you as well. So, also, Kanjiro. Kanjiro, to me, he was a cool character to see on screen. Like, I wouldn't say, like, he's the best character ever. He's a unique character. I just found him enjoyable on screen because he embodies the ethical. I feel like he embodies what it means to be an ethically high character, because his ethics and his morals and his ambitions are super high. And sometimes just watching anime like that, it feel good. It feels good. So seeing him just interact with some of his, like, colleagues at works, or also demon slayers, and also just seeing him just go up against these demons, and how he prioritizes his morals, or try to prioritize his morals more than anything. At the end of the day, he is a kind-hearted human being, and he tries his best to just see both ways in both situations. But I'll talk about that in particularly later on, because there's other things on this list I do want to talk about a little bit. But yeah, I do like his moral standings. I'm not gonna lie, like, seeing Kanjiro just go through the series, just how he would carry himself, how he would pretty much just keep his head up high, always make sure that the others around him is always good, on top of just making sure that he himself is reaching goals and strides that he personally want to go to. I feel like any character, regardless of how many times this is redone, how many times this is cloaked under new sheets, doesn't matter. Like, those types of characters will always make me personally feel good, because I just like morally strong characters with strong convictions, strong morals. I can genuinely say that most of the time they really don't conflict, but they do conflict a little bit, because his morals, okay, because that the thing about the character and his morals, like, they're his strongest point, but also his weakest point, if you get what I mean. But you don't have to get what I mean. I'll explain it later on when I get to the point, because I again, a whole list. I have a list of things. So yeah. All right. The villains. Okay, the villains. Yeah. Like, I don't want to spoil you guys if you guys do plan on reading the manga, but like, I'll try to warn you each time I go into spoilers. But right now, definitely going into spoilers. So if you guys don't know, literally after the anime, the movie's not out yet, so technically this still is considered a spoiler, but they go up against Upper Moon 1, right? No, I said Upper Moon 1. False. They go up against Lower Moon 1. And this is the fight where Rengoku is going up against them. I won't give you guys too much context, because I feel like the context isn't what I want to really focus on. The fight itself was cool, I guess, but that's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is what happens after. So what happens pretty much after is just that you fight in Upper Moon, right? Upper Moon 1 is killed. You fight we see the first Upper Moon introduced into the story, who is Upper Moon number 3. And by God, like, he is an amazing, this is like one of the coolest introductions in Demon Slayer outside of Inosuke, because Upper Moon 1, he really sets the boundary for what to expect from some of the other Upper Moons. And I thought this was such a amazing thing. For Demon Slayer, this was such a cool thing, because when you see when you see Upper Moon 3 just operates, functions, how overwhelming he is, how overpowered he is, how just devastating this character is, and what ends up happening at the end, where he's able to actually kill a pillar, I thought that was cool. It was cool. The only thing, though, is, even though it raised the bar now for the Upper Moons and how powerful they could potentially be, it really lowered the bar for me that a Upper Moon already got killed, like, so easily, especially since he was a newer Upper Moon we were introduced to. Like, that was the only thing that was a little bit off-putting to me. Like, something that could have kind of been okay, but at the same time, like, it would have just been hit-miss for a lot of fans. I would have felt better if maybe like Upper Moon 3 didn't come, but what ended up happening, maybe like subordinates or just a underling of an Upper Moon pretty much came on scene and fought the pillar, but then Goku probably still survived. Because I just don't like where characters are literally being introduced and they're just being killed off so quickly. I just feel like that's such a lazy way to go about writing any character, where you introduce them just to die. That's so lazy to me. Even though, like, yes, I'll say it again, like, it do set a bar for what we should expect from the Upper Moons, but as soon as Goku died, I was just like, nah, man, this was way too early. His death was way too early. Like, they rarely or barely gave him substance. And even though they kind of backtrailed in the manga, where you get to see his father, you get to see his little brother that he mentions and talk about when he was still alive, like, even then, like, that doesn't necessarily help the character now that he's dead, you know? Some of this characterization that they gave him through his father and through his little brother would have been better suit if he was actually there. Because now, instead of you flushing or using this to flush Goku out, you're using this to pretty much flush out his father and his little brother. So I felt super conflicted about that one death. Also, just talking about the Upper Moons in general, as I read on through the manga, I met Upper Moon 6, I met Upper Moon 2, Upper Moon 1, and the one thing I just didn't like about any of the Upper Moons, especially, no, Upper Moon 1 was okay. He was okay. Upper Moon 2, yeah, he was definitely okay. Upper Moon 2, Upper Moon 6, and even Upper Moon number 3, I felt like all of their deaths were so gimmicked. And not to, okay, and when I say gimmick, I feel like each of the Upper Moons had some sort of cheat code for you to beat them. Like, it was like you were playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and you're doing like the up, down, left, right, R2, L2, and then it's just like, oh, I figure out this unique and just strategic way to beat an Upper Moon or something like that. I thought that was so corny. Like, super, super corny. Especially for the death of well, okay, most of the Upper Moons that Tanjiro fights, I just felt that they were just super corny. Just super, super corny. Like, really, really needed more something to it. Like, I just felt like he beat most of the Upper Moons off of just gimmicks. Like, find their gimmick, you win. Strategy really didn't work at all against an Upper Moon. Like, even though, I'm not gonna lie, throughout some of the fights, like with Upper Moon 6, I think his name was like Gyotaro or something like that, and his sister. Like, I get it. Like, that was cool. They tried their best to utilize the best strategies that they could with Yuzu, but at the end of the day, it was just like, I really don't know. Like, I just felt like some of the deaths of the Upper Moons just didn't sit right with me. None of them, except for like Upper Moon number 1, where he himself had his own moment of reflection. You know, like, he himself just looking back at his past, like, he was just like, oh, okay, maybe I was an asshole to my brother, and maybe I should have, you know, been a better brother and stopped being jealous. I thought that was cool. That was definitely cool. I really do like that. I really do like that. So I don't know. The Upper Moons was kind of really hit miss to me. I expected a lot more from them, but they just felt so formulaic. Like, this is the formula. They fight. We find out their gimmick, their mental weakness, exploit it, kill them. And I just felt that was just so meh. That's why the only interaction, the only fight that I liked with an Upper Moon was Upper Moon 1. Like, that fight was just beautiful. Oh my god. And even the aftermath. Because oh man, Upper Moon 1, oh my god, that was so good. So good. Another good fight I'll probably say is probably Upper Moon 4 and 5. Because that's the thing, that's another thing about Demon Slayer that I'm realizing. Like, as I'm hearing myself talk, right? Like, most of the notable moments are kind of their fights, you know? That's why I'm saying, like, this show is very, very, very simple. Like, when it comes to substance and context, like, they kind of cram everything last minute. Like, that's the way how I feel like the story's written, in a sense, where it's just like, all right, when it comes to characterization, when it comes to fleshing out characters, we'll compact everything towards the end, and that's when we'll kind of have this emotional or character payoff, but it doesn't work. And oh my god, there was one moment that kind of just, I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me off, because there was one moment with like Inosuke, right? And with Inosuke, he came through to support, what was the chick's name? Kanui, I think her name is Kanui. That's the chick that if you guys are familiar with the anime, that's the chick that she came and she kind of tried to kill Nezuko because she was a demon and Shinobu kind of ordered her to kind of kill her off. So Kanui, right? She is confronting Upper Moon 2, right? Which makes sense because it was previously established that Upper Moon 2, Duma? I think it's Duma. Upper Moon 2 was the one that killed Shinobu's sister. And then you find, and then as the story goes on and stuff like that, Shinobu confronts Doma, Upper Moon 2, and she's also killed. He devours her. And now Kanui is trying to get revenge for both Shinobu's sister and Shinobu. So that makes a lot of sense. Like, that interaction and exchange, it made the most sense to me. But then when Inosuke came, I was hyped. I was ecstatic because I'm not gonna lie. At first, I hated his character because I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I think I've reached the point when it comes to anime that I enjoy simplicity in characters more than over the topness. Obviously, I do like a layered character that goes through changes, that goes through different, personal story arcs, right? But it was Inosuke and Zenitsu. I instantly just didn't like either of them. Like, they were just so over the top and kind of like overbearing a little bit with their quirky personalities. So Inosuke, I'm not gonna lie, I fell in love with this character, man. Like, I just loved his character so much. I loved his character because later on, as the story went on, he just became more enjoyable to see because of his just weird nature. And I think the his backstory kind of helped a little bit with that too. Just me enjoying him as a character a little bit more. But yeah, back to what pissed me off. So Inosuke comes to help out Kanui fight Doma, and I'm here thinking pretty much just that, okay, this is lit, like Inosuke coming to support. Obviously, he's going to be the level-headed / kind of, sporadic character because he doesn't know Duma, right? All Inosuke cares about is his fight and winning the fight. But this is where the author takes the biggest L, like the massive L. Why would you co-associate Inosuke with Duma? Like, that was so unnecessary. Like, it was unnecessary, it was random, and it just came out of nowhere. Yes, I get it. The author goes his way of explaining how Inosuke is co-intertwined with Duma, and this is quote-unquote fate. That's bullshit. Like, I'm calling bullshit on it. No, don't do that. Like, it would have been so much better. Why would you take that away from Kanui? And this is why the stigma will forever stay with anime, that they don't write good female characters. Why would you take away, like, even if it's not a lot, right? It still does take away from Kanui's victory. Even if Inosuke came through, even if he supported and helped her, that doesn't matter. What matters is this is an enemy. This is an opponent for Kanui. Why would you take that away and give part of the victory to Inosuke? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, this is and I'm not talking about the battle itself. Obviously, for the purpose of the battle, of course Inosuke is going to get credit, right? Duh. But I'm talking about, like, the emotional levity, the strength that's going to come just from successfully beating this opponent. And then you're telling me that you weren't content with just giving that to Kanui. You wanted to give that also to Inosuke, when this series is not going to just end itself. I've heard no news of Demon Slayer ending, so why couldn't you save a story arc for Inosuke and his mom for later on, and then you could just have this resonate properly for Kanui? This frustrated me because it was just like, why would you just do this so out of pocket? Like, I would have understood if the seeds was planted a little bit better, because I'm not gonna lie, in the flashback for Inosuke, they do kind of briefly mention and talk about the idea that, like, Obviously, Inosuke isn't just a wild kid. He had a mother, of course. So there's this little mystery that shrouds the whereabouts or just his mother in general. And I was just like, wow, this could be really interesting later on. This could be very powerful later on. I wasn't expecting them to just drop the ball for I didn't expect him to drop the ball so suddenly, and especially for interaction that Inosuke personally just shouldn't have been a part of. But I'm going in a tangent right there. Like that one part just made me just feel like, ugh, just, my God. Okay, so we talked about a lot in that part. So another one. Okay, Muzan. I really felt like Muzan is a boring villain. Like he is boring. Like I've never false, that's a lie. I've seen boring villains before, but at the end of the day, at least they can kind of do cool stuff because I won't lie. Like another boring villain that I would say that's kind of just is Naraku, but Naraku at least like during the series of Inuyasha, because I think Demon Slayer, the best series to compare this series to is Bleach and Inuyasha, because this series give me the closest vibes to those two series. But back to Naraku, I still feel like Naraku was such an elaborate villain though, because it was just like when it came to Naraku, he would he was in disguise. He was pretty much playing all fields at one point until he officially revealed himself, and then he just became boring. But I thought that was such a cool thing. But Muzan, to me, he just felt like such a dreadful character. At one point, I felt like, okay, I kind of get his character. I kind of get where they're kind of going with his character a little bit. Like maybe he's like Dracula from Castlevania, because at first, that's originally what I thought they were going for. A man with ambition, a man with, prowess to him. And he obviously has this goal to be able to walk under the sun, right? Cool, fine, whatever. But there will just be times where it's just like, I understand this was kind of established in the anime, so pretty much all of us are on the same board that demons don't work together. They work together in fear. But like they put Muzan on this pedestal where he's not your typical demon. Like he's different. Like he's this individual that he trumps the hierarchy, or he trumps the mental hierarchy as well when it comes to other demons. Cool. Thumbs up to that. I respect it. But at the end of the day, it's just like the way he disrespected some of his besides Upper Moon 6, but the way he disrespected like Upper Moon 3 a little bit, and the way he would carry himself when it came to just the Upper Moons in general, like, I don't know, like, Muzan to me was more confusing than anything. Like, his ambitions, his goal, like, what do you really want to come out of this if you're able to walk under the sun? Like, what is endgame for you? Because obviously, to me as a fan and just what I know of his character, like, maybe if Muzan is able to walk under the sun, he wants to just spread his demonic army a little bit further, be able to take further control of the world, maybe, because operating at night isn't going to give him that, like, that levity. But but still, like, even though when you think about that, why would that be different? Him operating under the sun and under the moon, why would that be different when he does get the ability to do so than now? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, nighttime, it's dark for a little while. Like, when it's night, it stays night for a pretty decent time. And you're telling me that because of the sun, that really restricts you? Like, I understand, don't get me wrong, I get it, that the idea of there being something that can kill you is just unbelievable, right? Like, that's something that just can't happen. Like, I won't allow this to be my weakness. And I would get that. But I don't know, like, it's just so, the way how they conveyed it in the manga when I was reading it, it just felt so weird. Like, if that's all you really needed, truthfully needed, like, you would gone about it in way better ways. Like, because you're really telling me that for eons, just for decades upon decades, like, you were just randomly creating demons just so the off chance that one of these demons could be a Sunwalker? That just seems like, why? Like, why would you, what? And then they're talking about this Blue Lily, and this apparent blue lily is unfindable. Like no one knows where this blue lily is cultivated at. But you don't try harder to find this blue lily or just have more factions of demons look for this blue lily. Even though I'll give the series a pardon. At the end of the day, we don't know if Muzan didn't do that, but it's hit miss. I don't know. I just felt like Muzan could have been more of a caricature than just this very, very stoic and just detached demon, you know? Because he just felt really boring to me. I felt like some of the upper moons, I had better times watching and reading them compared to like Muzan. Like I still think like what was his rank? Upper Moon 4? I think Upper Moon 4 was probably one of the most unique Upper Moons. Like he was cool. His original design when you first see him looks disgusting. But after you see him fight in some of his transformations, it just looked, oh man, he looks so cool. But like I said, cool. All right, let's move on. Oh, this is like a little thing I wrote, but I think I already talked about this pretty much. And this is like characters kind of function the way you expect them to function, where they're every single character that you see in Demon Slayer, once they're introduced, they kind of don't break out of their gimmick. So Tanjiro, for example, right? He's modest, he's morally, ethically values himself and other on a very, very high pedestal, and he doesn't break that mold at all. So once you see a character and the way how they're introduced or their introduction initially is pretty much the way how the story carries them all the way through. They don't change much at all. Like the only character that had like a decent change was Zenitsu when he had to Zenitsu, I think I started to like him a little bit more when he's serious towards like the end of when I was trying to catch up to the manga, when one of his master's disciples turned into a demon and his master had to kill himself because the breath that he taught that individual that turned into a demon did what he did, and that's just unspeakable. Like when it comes to just training and just honing the skills of an individual, like the one thing that's just like it just I keep saying unspeakable, but the one thing that you just can't do is just allow yourself or allow one of your students to turn into a demon. So he had to just commit suicide, and I thought that was very wow. So Zenitsu had to get revenge for his master and obviously confront this individual, and I just thought that whole interaction was beautiful for Zenitsu and his character, so he can kind of grow a little bit and be more mature. But knowing how these shows go, if Zenitsu stays like this, I would love his character. I would fall in love with Zenitsu all the way through. But if he just reverts back to his typical whiny self, which we all know he's going to revert back to that bullshit, then I don't know. Zenitsu was on my whatever list. He's definitely not a character for me. That's 100% sure. Hold on. I wrote this comment I wrote is a little weird. Some characters, interactions. Oh, no. This is the rant. This is the rant. This comment was talking about the Inosuke thing where like just certain character interactions just felt so, or history just felt so inconvenient. Like that little history that they gave to Inosuke and his mother just felt so like convenient. Like it was just like, oh, this is a thing, you know? I'm just like, nah, that's trash. Okay. I already talked about Inosuke growing on me. All right. So we talked about villains. We talked about some of the characters. We talked about just the story as a whole. The one thing I definitely want to talk to you guys about are the pillars. And guys, this is obviously is just a thing that anime do constantly, is never going to change. But okay, I just want to solidify this right here and right now. When it comes to a character, right? And there's history, there's story that the author feels best suits that particular character. Fine. That's cool. When it comes to the pillars of Demon Slayer, I really felt like all of them was really, really bland. Like there weren't boring characters because obviously the context to who these individuals grown up to be after the tragic experiences that they experienced, I was like, wow, this is really cool. But at the end of the day, that's the only thing the author allows these characters to define them, their tragedy. And I feel like at the end of the day, like, listen to me, guys, at the end of the day, you should never let a particular like tragedy or anything of the sort kind of like define your characters, because obviously life goes on, things happen. That was weird what happened to the slideshow, but life goes on, things happen, and pretty much you should have more caricature traits given to these characters so that they could feel a little bit more different, feel a little bit more detached for their situation. And the only pillar that I truly felt went through that was Rangoku and the water pillar. His name escapes me right now. I want to say Tamao, something like that. But I'll say the water pillar just not to butcher his name and make a fool of myself. But the water pillar, right? He was the only character, along with Rengoku, that just didn't feel like they were just so intertwined with their past all the time. Obviously, when we met the water pillar for the first time, when he met Kanjiro, obviously he felt like a whole different character. When we got more into his backstory, more to his history, that's when we learned about who he was and what kind of defined him and what kind of mindset he had. And I felt that was really good because he grown in spite of that, right? Excuse me. But some of the other pillars kind of don't go through that at all. Like, the love pillar, she felt really bland. Like she was a dope character. I like her backstory, but she was bland at times. Her gimmick is kind of on the scale of Inosuke and Zenitsu, where it's overbearing, where she's just all about love all the time and stuff. The snake pillar, to me, we haven't gotten that in-depth backstory about him. But oh wow, how did I forget this guy? Genya and his brother, to me, were probably some of the more enjoyable characters in the manga. Like their relationship, their evolving relationship, revelations with their relation. They were the most elaborate characters. Obviously, when I say elaborate, I mean elaborate for Demon Slayer, but their history isn't so complicated, and the way how they kind of try to support each other in the unique way that Demon Slayer goes about writing it, I enjoyed it. Like, you come to find out that all along, Genya's brother really wasn't jaded toward the idea that he said that he was the one to kill his parents. Like, obviously, Genya's brother, he always loved his brother. He pushed him away so that he could possibly grow and just become a stronger and more, like, a stronger on top of live a peaceful life type of character, you know? And I really did like that. Like, again, this is not unique at all, but I did like that they did that. So compared to what I've been seeing and just the constantness of just some of these other pillars just having these backstories and their characters is just so deeply attached to that backstory and they just show no other signs of just self-growth, I was just like, this is amazing to me compared to what I've been noticing for the most part. So yeah, it was like, this was really good. This was really good. The wind pillar, he was dope. I like him. So those are the three characters I would say that had like the best character changes outside of like their initial past. And I would love to see these characters constantly grow. Obviously, Rangoku is dead, so we can't really say anything about that. But I would love to see the water pillar and the wind pillar continue to grow and just define their characters in new ways outside of what happened in the past. So yeah. Yeah. So I'm fully caught up. Right now in the manga, Muzan is going completely nuts. He's killing people left and right. And with the recent chapter that just came out, Kanjiro and the water pillar has confronted Muzan on top of other pillars is trying to make their way to that location. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped. I expect Muzan to pretty much kill off possibly 3 pillars because the way how things are looking right now, I feel like the author is definitely going to try to solidify Muzan's like power level. So just to give him that like, okay, this guy is not someone you want to mess with. He's probably definitely going to probably kill the wind pillar. These are my predictions. The wind pillar is going to die. Rock pillar is definitely going to get smoked. And possibly Wind Pillar, Rock Pillar, and I kind of want to say Wind, Rock, and maybe I want to say maybe maybe not necessarily a pillar. I doubt Inosuke and Zenitsu is going to die. I really, really doubt it. Oh, you know who I forgot? What was her name? Tamio, the one that was trying to work on the demon cure to turn a demon into a human. Her subordinate. Maybe he might die. Well, you know what? I'll take out the might. He's gonna die. Cause there's no doubt in my mind. Him personally, he's going straight for Mugen. I mean, I said Mugen. Muzan. Hopefully I haven't been mixing up Mugen and Muzan throughout this video because like those two words are so similar, so I hope I haven't been mixing it up. But Muzan though. So yeah. So guys, these are my thoughts on Demon Slayer. Guys, I know it was kind of all over the place. I didn't do this in any type of chronological order of sequences of events. I kind of just, like I said, I just wanted to speak my mind. This is not no formal video of me just talking or reviewing Demon Slayer. Like I said earlier on in the video, I just don't feel like an arbitrary number score would just fit my emotions. I just wanted to air out what I feel and how I feel. Especially since everybody was on the fence, which this always happens with any very popular anime. People feel like it's overrated. People feel like it's overhyped. To me, I didn't care that much about the series to begin with. When I watched it, it was kind of just something like, oh, this is something that's going on. I knew that it had a manga. Now it has an anime. Let me just wait for the episodes to come out, binge it, then read the manga. That was kind of my thought process of it. So I didn't have or held this anime to no high regards. It was kind of just a mediocre series to me at first, but then I started to like it, so I just kept going with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate your guys' time. If anything, guys, feel 100% free to just comment what you guys feel about the series. But like I said before, I'll catch you guys later. You guys have yourselves a good one, and peace.